Hear our people, hearing the people of the land, hearing the tongue of the finger, sing around the people down the mud, more to happy. In 1916, the arrest of Prophet Kenana. 1918, the Rakuna movement. 1926, Royal Commission on Land Confiscation. 1930s, further declining health statistics. 1940, the centennial celebrates the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi as the nation's founding document. World War II, Nakamatoa, Tula, Kaiwena, Kahai, 28 Battalion. Kakaha. Emergency send SOS. Save our souls, save SOS. Save our spirits.
What's your free personal giving people driveway?
My dog can't say hello to the
Yeah, stay
we got Marshall, Kirk, Rolling Muldoon, Longy, Palmer, Gore, Baldrick, Shipley, Clark. Oh my God, we got keys. It's out to Kahalawa. Now 111, emergency send SOS. Save our souls, SOS.
Oh, yeah.
Save our spirits, hear our people.
Just seeing you turn up.
Healing the people of the land. Healing the tongue of the Fenua. Ting around the tea, the mighty, more to happen.
You want a drink?
In 1917, we have Nakamatoa. In 1980, we got you loud to reception.
Okay.
1981, Springboks to a halt, all racial slurs. 1984, Teko Kahitanga. In 1986, we have devolution. Treaty won't go away. Treaty won't go away. The introduction of negotiations of Vice-Chancellor Tribunal. God of nations at their feet, in the bones of love we live. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend New Zealand. God present which peoples down from the shouts of John Key's war. Democratization of our lands. God defend our sovereign friend. SOS, SOS. Save our souls and SOS. Save our spirits, heal our people. We have the trips, GCSB checks. Now we got the TPPA, we got treaty settlements, we got the TPPA Act. They're all designed to destroy us. God of nations at thy feet, in the bonds of love we made. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend New Zealand. He says TPPA, we say.
No way!
He says TPPA, we say.
No way!
Kia ora.
All right, yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Black Cats. Also available for kids' parties, 21st and political rallies. Okay, we've got a few more speakers now. I'd like to invite to the stage Mr. Malcolm Eve.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm not a politician, but I want to just remind us what I think the most important thing that this agreement is all about. And to do so, I'm not going to speak personally like Stuart Nash did just before. I am going to quote a number of things that I have found in my research about the TPPA. First of all, what I want to say to us all is that this is not an agreement about trade. Trade forms a very small part of this agreement. What this agreement is about is our sovereign rights to have a judicial system and apply laws that apply to our country. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to read an article which was written by a woman called Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is a current United States Senator. She is potentially a candidate for the presidency of the United States. She was for 21 years a commercial law professor at Harvard University, and so she knows what she's talking about when she comes to talking about the TPPA. This is from an American perspective, and no, I'm not supportive of America, but it gives you an idea that even in America, this agreement is reviled by a lot of people because of the secrecy. I'll read what she says. The United States is in the final, wherever I mention the word United States, put New Zealand. The United States is in the final stage of negotiating the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a massive free trade agreement with Mexico, Canada, Japan, Singapore and 7 other countries. Who will benefit from the TPP? Consumers, workers, small businesses, taxpayers, or the biggest multinational corporations in the world? One strong hint is buried in the fine print of the closely guarded draft. And let's just divert here. No one has seen the TPP agreement. It is secret, yet over 600 corporate lawyers and representatives have been at these meetings advising the international political negotiators. That's giving an indication of where the power lies on this agreement. The draft provision, an increasingly common feature of trade agreements, is called, as Stuart pointed out, the Investor State Dispute Settlement Agreement, or ISDS. The name may sound mild, but don't be fooled. Agreeing to ISDS in this enormous new treaty will tilt the playing field in the United States, quote, New Zealand, further in favour of big multinational corporations. Worse, it will undermine our sovereignty. ISDS would allow foreign companies to challenge New Zealand laws and potentially to pick up huge payouts from taxpayers without ever stepping a foot in New Zealand, in a New Zealand court. Here's how it works. Imagine that New Zealand bans a toxic chemical that is often in a gasoline or something of that nature for health and environmental consequences. If a foreign company that makes the toxic chemical opposes the law, it could formally challenge that, it would have to challenge that in a New Zealand court. But with ISDS, the company would skip the New Zealand courts and go to an international panel of arbitrators. If the company won, the ruling could not be challenged in New Zealand courts, and the arbitration panel would require New Zealand taxpayers to cough up millions in dollars in damages. That is not an agreement that we should be involved with. It seems shocking, but ISDS could lead to gigantic fines, but it wouldn't employ independent judges. Instead, highly paid corporate lawyers would go back and forth between representing corporations one day and sitting in judgment the next, outside of our jurisdiction. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to mention that as the most important thing that I've come across in terms of researching about this agreement. Paul Craig Roberts is a former Under Secretary to the Treasury in the United States to the Reagan administration. He is quite clear in what he says. The TPP has been called a 1%er to the powerful. So the agreement mentions those people, the 1% that you've all heard about and read about in your press. They are the people who are going to take control. Mark our word here. We will be the subservient in all this agreement, and I just think that this is actually dreadful that we're getting sucked into this agreement, which, as previously has been said, was an agreement signed and sealed already with 4 nations, New Zealand being part of it, until the United States corporations became involved. I'm not going to say any more because the crowd's diminishing, you all want to go home, but there is a lot of information that you can find on the internet. You have to go digging for it, and I recommend you all do that. But when you actually have a rule that is in an agreement which disallows a New Zealand court to challenge a corporation doing something, or bringing a drug or a chemical or a genetically modified seed into our country, that is wrong. That's why I've got up here today to say that I am totally against this agreement.